Hello everyone, this is our sixth week. We will learn about the conditions, loops and writing and reading files with Python in this lecture. This sixth lecture's GitHub page can be read from this repository just by clicking that lecture 6 link. We will start with cloning our repository from GitLab. You should all have your Computer Programming 2022 repository on GitLab, and like when you go in, you should see your lecture 3, lecture 4, lecture 5 folders now, and then this week you will add your lecture 6 folder into your repository. Here you should download these files onto the computer, but if you work on the laboratory computers, one of the laboratory computers, you would have a computer programming like this. Don't do this, please. You might have a folder like this, and if you work in that folder, it means you work one of your friends' folder. So when you try to add the lecture 6, you might have some problems by adding that lecture 6 to the GitLab back when we finish this lecture. So please, when you start, please remove the Computer Programming 2022 directory first. Then be sure that there is nothing else than these files in your home directory of your laboratory computer. If you work on your own computer, you might again have a Computer Programming 2022 folder. Then please go into that folder like cd Computer Programming 2022 and then run git pull command to update that folder and to make your repository equal to the your local folder. Okay. Now, if you work on a laboratory computer, you should download your GitLab repository to that computer first. Use git clone and your link. Your link should be your student ID underscore your name underscore your surname, and my username is not please write here your username and then Computer Programming 2022.git. Again, I'm saying that your username should have your student ID underscore your name and underscore your surname. When you press enter, you should write your username for GitLab and then your password. If you list the files and folders in the directory, you will see that Computer Programming 2022 is here. Just go in. You shouldn't have lecture 6 folder yet, but make your lecture 6 folder and then go to that folder. Your folder should be empty, surely, and you will write some codes following this GitHub page today. After making your lecture 6 and writing all your codes, we will add this lecture 6 into your GitLab like this one. Now let's start with if statements. We can use if statement to put conditions for some parts of our codes in Python. Logical conditions from math can be used like if x equals y, we should use two equal signs. If x is not equal to y, if x is greater than y, less than y, greater or equal to y, less than or equal to y. Okay, now let's see this example. Open a file by typing v if statement.py, for example. When you open this, it will be completely empty like this. Please stop the video here and write your code by just looking this one. Now here in these parts we define a variable x, which is capital X here in this case, is 10. We can use the if statement by just typing if, there's a space here, x is equal to 10. We come to the fourth line and we give two spaces here and type print x is equal to 10. Now when you do that and when you run your code, but just by saving with W first and then pressing F2, you will see that x is 10. This one. Now x is 10, but if x is smaller than 10, it will print x is less than 10. So if you comment out, if you open these two lines and save and then run this code again, we will not see here that it doesn't print x is smaller than 10 because x is just 10. Now if we make x 9, for example, save it and then press F2, then we will see x is less than 10 here. Now Python just checking, I will take this back to 10. When Python comes here to the 6th line, it just checks if x is smaller than 10. If this condition is correct, true, then it goes to this line and then prints. If it doesn't correct, then it jumps to this line, to 8. It doesn't read the 7th line. Okay, now we can use this sign for larger or greater than, this sign for it is not equal to 10, this sign if it is smaller or equal to 10, and this is if it is greater than or equal to 10. Now if we open all the lines, save it and press F2, we will see only these three results which are correct. Y is not equal to 10 because y, we defined y as 20. Y is either greater than or equal to 10. It says it is greater than 10, so it prints it from here. Now save your if statement Python code and exit. We can use multiple if statements together. Open another Python code as if statement 2.py. Stop this video here and then write this code, please. Now we have two variables. One is x is 10 and the other one is y is 20. Here in the fourth line we tell Python check if x is equal to 10, then if it is equal to 10, jump to the 5th line. If it is not equal to 10, jump to the 7th line and then continue reading our code. If it is equal to 10, jump to the 5th line and check y if y is 20. If x is 10 and y is 20, then jump to the 6th line and print this one. If one of these conditions are not correct, then jump to the 7th line, we say. Now let's comment out these lines Save and then press F2 to see the result. 1. Both x is 10 and y is 20. I don't know why there is both there. Now comment out all these and then just save it and press F2 to see the results. Here we check if x is 10 and y is 20 using this AND. We can use AND or not in the if statements. This case can only be true if both are the variables are both are the conditions are correct here. So it prints if both x is 10 and y is 20. Here one of the conditions should be correct. If we change this y20 to like 25, it is again prints this one is again printed, but y is not 20 at that time. But even if one of the conditions are not correct, this sentence will be printed. This sentence will only be printed if x is 10 and y is not 20. So we will not see this sentence when we press F2 here. We will not see the fourth sentence. This is the fourth sentence. When we press F2, we will not see that on here because y is not 20. It is 20. So this one is not printed. We can use or not. Now if x is 10 or y is not 20. Now one of these conditions are correct. Which one is correct? This one is correct. So this one will be printed. In this case, if x is not 10 and y is 20, this one will be printed. Because x is 10 here, this sixth sentence will not be printed because this condition is not correct. Now x is not 10 or y is 20. One of these conditions are correct. This one is correct, and then this one will be printed then. If you press F2, you will not see the sixth sentence but see the seventh sentence here. Save the if statement 2.py and then exit. We can use elif or else as shown here in this picture. Open elif dash else.py. You will not see this one like this, but you will see it empty. Please write this code by stopping the video here. Here we again define x is 10 and y is 20. Now we first check the type of our variables. We say that if the type of x is an integer and type of y is also integer, then go to the fifth line. But if one of these variables are not integer, are for example float or like a string, then jump to the 11th line and continue reading my code. Currently I'm just checking if these two are integer. Yes, then I will continue reading my code. Python will continue reading my code from this fifth line. Later it will check if x and y are smaller than 0. If it is correct, it will print this one, x and y integers and are negative numbers. elif, I give another condition. If this condition is not correct, it will read this condition. If this condition is correct, it will not read this part then. It will not read this part then. So is this correct? No. So it will read this part. If x is 0 and y is 0, it will print x and y are integers and both zeros. Are they zeros? No. So it will go to this line and it will print this one. Else means if this one is not correct, if this one is not correct, then all the possibilities can become here. So when we run our code, we will see that x and y integers and are positive numbers. We don't have to use elif, else altogether. We can just use else, or we can just use elif instead. Like for giving, they are either zeros or positive numbers. These two conditions are given in one condition here with else. And I also added something else into this if statement code block. So it will read this one if x or y are not integers. Then it will come to here and it will write that at least one of the x and y is not integer. Let's run this code with 10 and 20 values and see that x and y integers are positive numbers. 10 and 20 are integers and they are positive numbers. So this sentence says something correct. And x and y integers are either zeros or positive numbers. This is coming from our second part of our code. Now let's check if x is minus 10 and y is minus 20. Then run your code. X and y integers, they are negative numbers, and x and y integers, they are negative numbers. I press enter. I will just put here, this is 20.0 for example. This is not an integer, this is a floating point number. I save my code and press F2 to see the result. And now before these stars there is nothing printed, but after these stars it says that at least one of x and y is not integer. So this is also correct. Before the stars nothing printed, because when our code comes to here, read that if the type of y is integer, it is wrong. So it directly jumped to this 11th line. It was empty, and then in the 12th line it printed these stars first. Then it came here, checked if x is integer, yes, but y is integer, not. Then it came to this 19th line and read the else, and then it said at least one of the x and y is not integer. By pressing F2 we can see the result again. Save your elif else code py and then come to here. We can use if statement with the arguments. We learned about the argument parser module in the last week, so you can just check how we do argument parser. Like we go back to lecture 5. If you uploaded your lecture 5 into your GitLab, you can do this, and I think it was the third code.py, and you can open this code with arguments.py, and hyphen small o opens them horizontally split it, or large O, capital O opens them vertically splitted. I will choose small o. Yes, this is my lecture 5 third code.py. So I can just copy this import argparse and this part, and then with Ctrl W I can jump to this split and then paste them here. Currently you are seeing this arguments.py is empty, like this. If you come here, select these, copy with Y, and then come here and paste here, you will see exactly the same which is written here in here. Then please change these parts as shown in this example. Then you do not need this third code.py anymore. You can just quit after coming here with Ctrl W. You can just colon and Q and quit from that. Then you will only have arguments.py opened. If you copied your argparse part from your argparse code, you will see your code like this, and then stop the video and type the rest of the code by looking this video here. Here in this code we read the x value and y value from the command line. Those values are floats, and if we just type arguments.py space dash h, we will see that this x value means enter the x value, y value means enter the y value. Here we define these args. X value is capital X, args y value is capital Y. Then come to this if statement. Our code will check if x is none or y is none. It will say that you should define x with -x option, or x is defined but y is not defined with -y option, or it will come here, you should define y with -y option, or y is defined but x is not defined with -x option. Now let's save this code and quit. Then type Python 3 arguments.py. Because we have not entered anything here, it says you should define x with -x, you should define y with -y. Let's define -x 10 for example. Then x is defined but y is not defined with -y option. You should define y with -y option. Then we can also define -y is like 20. Then it says that x is 10, y is 20. At least one of x and y is less than or equal to 10. Yes, we have x equal to 10. At least one of x and y is greater than 10. Yes, y is greater than 10. These two sentences are printed here, arguments.py. Now none means you have not entered x value or y value from the command line. If x is none or y is none, it prints these. If either x or y are not none, it prints x value here, y value here. Then it checks if x is smaller or equal to 10, or y is smaller than or equal to 10, and prints if one of these is smaller than 10 or equal to 10, and then it prints this one. because we have OR here, it checks two values separately. Because also we have OR here, it also checks here. If we give 10 and 20, these both are printed, but if we give like 10 and 5 for example, then any one of these statements will be correct, and then we will not see this sentence. Save this and exit. Then Python 3, like I am saying 5 here, then I will not see this line because I don't have anything greater than 10 here. I only see at least one of the x and y is less than or equal to 10, and I'm not seeing anything greater than. If it is 20, again I will see it. Okay, now let's jump to the next one. We can use this store true. We have not learned about these type of arguments in the last lecture, but I said that when we have if statements we will learn about that, so we will learn it here. Please open a Python with action arguments, action store true, arguments store true.py. When you open, you will not see anything like this. If you want to copy this part from your last Python code, you can just, in the command mode, you can just type colon and split arguments.py, which is the name of your last file. Then you will see that your arguments.py came here. You can copy these lines from here by just coming to here, pressing Shift V to select this line, then going up with K, then pressing Y, you can copy them. Then with Ctrl W, you can go to the bottom split. Then if you press Shift P, it will paste these lines to here. Okay. I will remove these from my code. Then you can go back to this arguments py with Ctrl W and then exit from it with Q. Now I only edit this line, this parser, which is store true action, store true type of arguments, and then I use it here in this line. Now this one calculates x plus 1 if we say the code -c or -- calculate. If we do not do that, it comes from else, it comes to the 13th line and it prints addition is not calculated. If I do not give this args calculate option, it will also say multiplication is not calculated and it will not print the multiplication. Now here I give two examples with if else and with if not elif. Okay, please have a look at these, how do they work. Now I will save and exit. Then I will type Python 3 arguments store true.py. First I will not give any option. It directly says addition is not calculated, multiplication is not calculated. Then I will give -x 10 -y 20 for example. When I press enter, it will again write addition is not calculated, multiplication is not calculated. But if I add another option with -c, which means calculate, then it will calculate and gives us the results. You can also use that option like just typing calculate here. Now here in this code, this line checks if we have this -c here or -- calculate here. Okay, this line, if args dot calculate. Now args dot calculate prints true, actually true. You can check it. Print args dot calculate, then save it and exit, then run your Python code again with calculate option here, like -c or calculate, doesn't matter. You will see the true first here. If you remove this one from here, then you will see false. So this is type of boolean, and then you will see addition is not calculated, multiplication is not calculated. Okay, if statements are just like this, we can use if statements conditions in other ways. Maybe we will see some like additional information about the conditions in the following lectures. Now let's move to the next video to learn about the loops, for loop and while loop in Python.